Hey everybody, welcome to Recap with Radical, where we go over all of the stories that we missed on episode 170, or I should say I missed on episode 170 of the Pixel Play podcast as I was flying solo on that. My name is Adam, aka CS Radical. Thank you so much for joining us on this edition of the recap. So the stories that we are covering would have been before the episode released on the 2nd of October 2024. So we're going to be talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's delay, not to mention it being pulled from the Tokyo Game Show, all of that. We're going to be talking about this weird, I'm not sure if it was a glitch or just a really bad decision on the PlayStation 5 home screen, and that certainly ruffled a few feathers. Speaking of that, we're also going to talk about ruffling some Horizon fans' feathers as the remaster is coming out soon, but is also causing the pricing of the original game to be messed with. And last but not least, my personal interjection into this list is going to be a game getting released that I didn't think was ever coming back, and, is finally going to be making its way back into, at least for now, PC and soon, hopefully, to be console, but backyard baseball. We will talk about that. All that as we get on with this episode of the recap. But don't forget, obviously, if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. And then if you're listening to us on the audio platform, make sure that you give us a rating, comment, and share with everybody. But hey, enough of that. We'll deal with the rest of that at the outro. But for now, let's move on to our first story. So, as I mentioned at the top, Assassin's Creed Shadows has been officially delayed to February 14th of 2025 now. Happy Valentine's Day to people who just want to slit some throats of some either feudal lords or whatever else is going to be going on with Assassin's Creed Shadows. But it was also pulled from Tokyo Game Show before the announcement of the delay, which is what made people really start to question what was going on there. And we didn't really get a full reason as to why. I don't know if we still have at this point. I haven't really seen anything. But it was saying that they had canceled their overall appearance at Tokyo Game Show due to various circumstances. Because it wasn't just Assassin's Creed that was going to be there. If I'm not mistaken, Siege was going to be there. X-Defiant was going to be there. There's one other game that I'm just blanking on right now. But there was supposed to be, there's at least 4 I can think of that in the story that was supposed to be there. But it wasn't just Assassin's Creed. So even before the delay came, it was the entirety of it. And that made people kind of wonder, because originally people thought, oh, okay, Assassin's Creed's getting delayed. And turns out they were right. But at the end of the day, some of us were thinking, well, does that mean there's something else going on with Ubisoft? Is there more to the story? Because there's obviously been consistent turmoil with Ubisoft. You're always wondering if there's going to be some other big story that pops in at any second. Hasn't yet, but you never know. But at this time, it just seems like because their big flagship wasn't going to be ready in time, that they went, maybe we should just pull out in general, which is kind of a shame. I'm surprised that they couldn't, still say something about it, but I'm sure that, in their minds, they have to save face somewhere. And doing this, I guess, was a lot easier of a decision to make than to go on stage and show something off and then say, oh, and by the way, this won't be ready for another few months. So whatever reason for the decision it has been pushed. Not to mention, though, to follow up from our story from a couple of weeks ago about Ubisoft stock, the price at the moment of the announcement of the delay dropped another 20%. Now, I don't know where it's at now. But at the time, that's what it had dropped to. And it just goes and show you just how fragile Ubisoft is right now when, already Star Wars Outcast did not do very well, at least in terms of, what their overall thought process was. I saw a story recently about how it only did about 1 million copies sold in its first month when it released, which is really surprising given it's Star Wars. But at the same time, you also wonder, well, Star Wars' reputation has taken quite a hit as of late. Ubisoft's reputation is basically non-existent for most people these days. But, now on top of this, with a big delay for Assassin's Creed Shadows, it's not looking good. Now, it could just be, it's still a really big buggy mess, which, go figure, that's a Ubisoft open world game in a nutshell, so what's the difference? But, if they're going to delay it this close to release, considering it was going out in November, there's clearly something up, and needing essentially 4 months of time means, well, there's a lot still wrong with it. So that just makes people even more unsure going into this game's release. I already don't have much of an interest in it right now anyway, just because of Ubisoft in general. But as we stand with the way that the story is going with the delay now, I'm definitely waiting to see how reviews are when this game comes out, because right now, It's not looking promising, but hey, you guys let me know in the comments below. What do you think? Do you think the delay is for anything more than just, bug fixing and stuff like that? Or do you think it's a much bigger issue? And overall, like, what's your current feelings on Ubisoft right now? Are they just really screwing the pooch right now? Like, what do you think's going on with them? But let us all know in the comments below there. So moving on, there was a very strange change made to the home screen on PlayStation 5 where it almost looked like there was like an advertisement system built into it. And as IGN was reporting it, so into the dashboard user interface, you couldn't really disable it without disconnecting from the internet, which meant that you were getting games where there were these, instead of, the unique art that you would consider to be, well, as close as a theme you're going to get, but, at least something relatively good looking, now you were getting some weird, like, advertising level stuff now. So, for example, one of the ones that was posted quite commonly was for Space Marine 2, the newest Warhammer game. It was showing the almost like the thumbnail of like a video that was released by the publisher, that was meant to be like some sort of promotional video, and that took away from the art that was normally being displayed on the home screen. But there were games that weren't affected by this, like some of the ones that IGN listed was like Astrobot and Yakuza Kiwami 2. At the time of recording this, it seems like this was fixed again, just out of nowhere around the 30th of September. So it seems like whatever it was has been fixed, whether or not it was a glitch or if it was, an idea that Sony had pushed across. And, well, surprisingly, I know, what a shock, fans didn't take too well to it. And again, it's another line of negative stories with Sony that really is showing that, man, do they need a win, and man, do they need to do something to kind of get things going here. And, well, we'll be talking about it in the next story, but they're not really doing that right now. But if this was an actual decision made, I can't for the life of me think what the idea was here. Because for starters, there's no themes you can really have for PlayStation 5. Every time that you switch between games, it's going to change the art. So there's no way of having a theme in the way that, like, when I finished my time with PlayStation 4, I haven't turned it on in quite some time now, but I had the Final Fantasy VII Remake background where it was like Tifa sitting on the water. The water tower, I think is what I would call it. I'm just blanking right now. But I had that, and that meant the music was different too. So, like, that was unique, whereas with PlayStation 5, it's not really an option, and still isn't an option, which is a strange decision in itself. But to take even away that is a very weird decision if that's actually what happened. If it's a glitch, whatever, no harm, no foul. It's just, another, bad luck PR story that Sony's going to have to deal with again. But if this was a decision on their part, what are you doing? Like, at this point, what are you doing? No one cares about a promotional video for Warhammer Space Marine 2. They already have the game installed. They don't need to know. If you're trying to sell DLC, again, I know that you think gamers are stupid, but if there's DLC that we want, we know. And even if we don't know, the next time we play the game, it'll tell us. We'll know. So a system like this is just ridiculously stupid. And if it was a decision, this is just another showing of, like, Sony is off the deep end right now, and the only reason they're staying alive is because their library has been pretty strong, and Xbox is not really countering right now. But yeah, I don't know. When I saw that, I haven't used my PlayStation 5 in this time period, so I didn't actually see it myself. But the amount of different people that were not happy about this is just another sign of, if it's a decision Sony's making, they're trying real hard to lose their clientele here. But hey, let us know what you think in the comments below. Did you guys come across this? What did you think about it? Do you think Sony is just continuing to piss away any good graces it has left? If it even has any left, let us know. But yeah, give us all your thoughts in the comments below there. So with the last state of play, we got the announcement that Horizon Zero Dawn is getting remastered and will be released on PC and PlayStation 5, where it's going to have a lot of updates to visuals and performance, everything you would expect it to be. The problem that people are having is that the price of the original Horizon Zero Dawn is quietly being raised on the PlayStation Store. So for the better part of the last 6 years, the game had been around $10.99 US on the PlayStation Store. And this is for the complete edition, I need to add. But as of September 25th, the price has suddenly jumped up to $39.99, which is now doubling its cost. And it had been sitting at $19.99 normally. This isn't like a sale price or anything. So with that price increase, You know, the remaster, as we've been told, is an extra $9.99 on top of it. So if you're looking to get a copy of the remastered version, you need to get a $49.99 price tag attached to it instead of $29.99 if you were going to buy the entire edition before that. And this is another thing where it's like, is this a decision that needed to be made? Now, I have my own thoughts. I mean, of course, decisions need to be made. They want to make as much money as they can, and it's a new remaster, so of course they want to make as much as they can. But I would even go beyond this. Did this game need a remaster? Horizon Zero Dawn is not that old. I don't understand, in the same way of like how Last of Us 2 has already gotten a remaster, and The Last of Us has had like 2, I think. Sony is starting to really make it seem like they have nothing anymore. So their thought process is to release more remasters to make it seem like there is more coming. When the reality is well, they've been going really hard on the live service idea, which is causing a lot of their projects to take longer, fail in the case of, say, Last of Us Factions, or pulled in the case of Concord. Now, we know that Horizon's got a live service online game that they're looking to do. That probably is going to be an issue now that Factions has been canceled and Concord's been pulled. And on top of that, we don't really have any dates for anything that Sony's coming up with in the future. We don't really know, like, when's Marvel's Wolverine coming out? No idea. Is there an Uncharted game coming out? No idea. Is there a Bloodborne coming out? Probably not, because apparently that no one wants that game. Clearly, no one wants it. But I don't know what they're thinking is going to go well with this. People are going to pay this no matter what. Let's be real. People are going to pay for it if they want it. But at this point, for a game that is as old as it is, the price did not need to be jumped up this high. You know what? If it was a $10 increase, I'd still be like, was this needed? But doubling? I'm not buying that. But the most important thing to me is just, this didn't need to exist to begin with. I mean, on PC, if they're releasing it, then the problem's already solved. Like, it's on PC. If they need a remaster, PC's got that covered. So it's really just for the PlayStation 5, which, to be honest, I don't think that many people are asking for it, if anybody. So it seems like a waste of time, and it's just another story that is going to get under the feathers of people and just continue this trend of Sony just not doing anything very consumer friendly right now. And it just keeps adding on to the list. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is this something on your radar at all? Are you even remotely interested in buying this? Do you think that this even needed a remaster? And do you even agree with the price values that they're increasing everything up to now? Do you think that's going to be worth it when it comes out? But let us know what you think in the comments below on that one. So this is my personal story for the week. My God, as a kid, one of my favorite things ever was backyard baseball, or backyard sports in general, because they also did soccer. They did more sport, because I never really played any of the others, because it was mostly the early PC games. I know that they did eventually hockey and football on like consoles and stuff, but I remember on PC, backyard baseball was my big one. Backyard baseball 2000, was it 2003 edition, I think, was the one that I played the most. I never did play the original, but now I finally have the chance to do so, because out of nowhere, out of the blue, like, no idea this was ever going to come. But a new company called Playground Productions, they are relaunching the Backyard Sports series, and that includes bringing back the original 1997 Backyard Baseball game. That doesn't include MLB players, because back then they didn't have that. They didn't get that till, I want to say it was 2001, because they did 2 editions. I think it was 2001, 2003. But they're going to bring back the original Backyard Baseball. It's going to be remastered, but the gameplay apparently is going to be mostly the same as what it was in 97. It's just remastering it so it's, widescreen, because of course 97 would have been back in standard definition, obviously up-resing it. And then it's going to add things like Steam achievements, a global leaderboard that will track stats like home runs, strikeouts, etc. All that will be out there, called Backyard Baseball 97 on Steam on October 10th. They have not said if it's going to be on console firmly, but they say that their goal is to bring it to more devices that isn't just PC. But if you guys are interested in anything sports-wise that is not a realistic game, like if you're a big baseball fan and you have never heard of Backyard Baseball, look out for this game. And it's going to be pretty cheap too, from what we understand on Steam. This will be something you'll want to look into. Now, the gameplay may not age nearly as well because it seems like they're not really changing much about it. But as an arcadey, like just old-timey, like kids game, and that's the other thing too. This is a great game for kids to play. It's got such great charm to it. All the original characters that they make have their own unique properties. Some of them are really, really fast. Some of them are really, really strong. And they all have like fun weaknesses and fun like things that can actually boost them. So like, for example, there are twin sisters, and if you put them together on the same team, they get stat increases. If you put one character, I think it's Luann. If you put her on a team and the team's color is pink, she actually gets a stat upgrade. So there are little things like that where it's not just pick characters, boom, done. Like there's actually some sort of strategy to picking them, even for a 1997 kids sports game. And not to mention, like the character art is very, very good. I think it's aged beautifully, even from playing because I played the original on an emulated device not too long ago, and it honestly is still pretty fun to do, and it is aged wonderfully. And now that they're going to be bringing back properly, and going to be on Steam, I think it's a great idea. I'm super excited for it. I do plan to get it at launch. It's one of the few things that I will ever get at launch. I don't really do that very often now. And it's one of those things that I want to support because I want to see more. Now, my only concern is if they are going to bring it back in full, I want a new game to not go into the 3D realm that they tried to after Backyard Baseball 2003, because eventually they started to go more into the console 3D, and it looks terrible. It was awful. It looked horrendous. It lost the cartoony charm about it. It was like a Saturday morning cartoon video game, and it lost that charm immediately. So I hope that they stick to that art style and then just make more improvements. I just want something that's really fluid and can do way more with it. I would love to see what they do with that. Not to mention bring back the original, because they'll probably do all the originals too. I'd love to see Backyard Soccer come back. But I think the only change is going to be with licensing, because MLB had its licensing with the original Backyard Baseball games. MLS had licensing with the soccer game. So it's probably going to be trickier. They may have to actually remake the game to some extent to either put more characters in, original characters, I should say. There's a lot of stuff they'll probably have to do with it to kind of make it work, but either way, I'm super excited for it. And again, if you're even remotely interested in a sports game that is a lot more arcadey, a lot more cartoony, this is way up your alley, and keep an eye out on this on October 10th to take a look at that. And yeah, like I can't wait. I can't wait to bring it back. So we'll see where it goes from there. But hey, you guys let me know in the comments below. Take a look at the trailer if you haven't already, and let me know what you think about it. Do you think this is a cool game? Are you a fan of this already and you're so happy that it got brought back? Let us know all your thoughts in the comments below on that one. So that's going to do it on this episode of the recap. Thank you so much for checking us out this week. So, as you can tell, we have now moved this to Friday, which made more sense because, well, having a recap almost a full week after some of these stories have come out in the ether, really didn't want to have stories to be 2 weeks old anymore. So now you're going to start seeing the recap on Fridays, whereas the side quests will now be on Mondays going forward. So keep an eye out for that from now on. But now our schedule is going to be the main shows always up Wednesdays. The recap is up on Fridays, and the side quests will be up on Monday. So, and those will all be at noon Eastern. That's not changing either. It's just going to be we're flipping the days between the recap and the side quests. So that's going to do it. But keep an eye out on Monday for the side quests. I'm still going to be alone, and I'm going to take on the challenge of seeing how many Mortal Kombat characters I can name in a given time period. I know I'm going to forget at least one really important one. I know it's going to happen, but you're going to have to wait and find out if I do or not. So, hey, check all of that out on the YouTube channel, which, by the way, if you haven't already, subscribe to that YouTube channel. And if you are watching on YouTube, like the video. Not to mention, if you're listening to this on any audio platforms, whether it be Stitcher, not YouTube, that's a video thing. Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you can get your audio podcasts. If you can give us a rating there, please do. If you can comment, please do. Don't forget to share with all your friends, whether you're listening on audio or video. And don't forget about our link tree, linktr.ee/pixelplay podcast, where we're linked to our Discord, where we can talk with you over there, link to our socials, all that good jazz. But that's going to do it on this edition of the recap. Thank you so much for watching again, and have yourself a good rest of your day. Take care. Bye-bye for now.